Check out this. Come on. You see, we like to welcome y'all to the House of Soul, you know, the Sacred Innovation. Come on, the National Institute of Soul, the Black Arts Entertainment District, you know, the whole fullness, you know, we representing for the culture. We coming back here for another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. So, we're here for Sex Magic and Dual Cultivation Part 2, right? This is Part 2 now. Hey, the first one was pretty good. You like it? You tell me if you like it. Look, that's up to you. Now, so the first one I didn't have the book up. So that was my fault, y'all. You know, so I want y'all to be able to delve into it with me this time. You know, so we got some music, and I'm gonna make sure I have the book up for you all this time. You know, so tell me if you can see the book. Bye. Can you see the book? Can you see the book? You can see the book. Okay. All right. So now we're going to get into the whole fullness again. Once again. And I know, you know, on the left side, y'all see the 3 depths before you get into introduction into the sex magic, you know. So let's talk about that, right? I'm going to just go ahead and just lay that down for what it says over there. So the 3 depths they always talk about, they say the depth of the physical body. After the silver cord is 7, the energetic body, spirit body, and eternal soul are free from the physical tissues, and the individual feels as if he or she is living within a dream state, right? That's the physical body. The depth of the energetic body, after releasing all energetic and emotional attachments to people, places, and things, that was significant to him or her during a specific incarnation, the spirit body and eternal body, discard the energetic body and enter into a state of rest and spiritual instruction. Right? And they say the death of the spirit body, after being refined and purified within in the physical realm, the eternal soul no longer requires its energetic vehicle and discards the spirit body. So you're not confused with what you see over there. That's what they, right? So that's what we're talking about in the last excerpt. But we're going to be talking about the introduction to Taoist sex magic. Right? And so this is part 2. Part 2 now. We got a chance to go over, the earlier stages and the last one and things like that. So we want to be able to delve deep into what, this part 2 introduction. Right? So let's get into it. The introduction of Taoist sex magic. Sexual energy is the most basic form of creative energy available to human beings. Right? They say this is a basic form, sexual energy. Normally, sexual energy is released downward and outward from the body throughout the acts of sex. When the sexual urge is suppressed, its energy is forced to rise upward, mixing with and enhancing the acquired emotions contained within the 5 yin organs before being released out through the mouth, through the act of speech. My God. So you're telling me when the sexual urge is suppressed, right? Its energy is forced to rise upward, mixing and enhancing the acquired emotions contained within the 5 yin organs. The 5 yin organs, right? Before being released throughout the mouth, right? So it goes through the divine feminine organs. That's what they say, the yin organs, right? The yin organs are going through before being released out through the mouth, the act of speech. So even in the suppression of your intimacy, the suppression of your sexual energy, it comes right out your mouth after going through your organs. No? Right? And so the saying is when the pelvis stops moving, the jaw starts moving. Oh, jaw. So you have energies, right? This refers to energetic patterns. So in those energetic patterns and things like that, you have individuals, they like they said, the saying is when the pelvis stops moving, the jaw starts moving. Once you start, you see me winding it? Let me show you one more time. Look. They say, once the pelvis stop moving, you see? Once the pelvis stop moving, what happened? They talk too much. So that's the thing right there. We're talking and things like that, active speech. So all of those things that were suppressed gonna come out your mouth. It's the same thing as when you have to go and take a boo-boo, and you don't boo-boo. Where do you think you're gonna go? It'll come out your mouth. You don't have boo-boo come out your mouth, right? That's it. You're gonna regurgitate the boo-boo. Same thing. If you don't, have a place or a release, because again, it's stored inside, certain tissues in order for it to be released. And you can release it conducively through the mouth, definitely, as well as your speech. They say the jaw starts moving. This is referred to an energetic pattern, right? So when both the sexual urge and the voice are suppressed, such as certain celibate monastic traditions, the pent-up sexual energy has no outlet. And the resulting internal pressure often creates shin disturbances, such as hallucinations. So they say when both the sexual urge and the voice are suppressed, when you cannot speak yourself, you can't speak your you can't speak your thing, and so now you have that as well as your sexual urges are suppressed. Such as, that's what they talk about with celibacy and stuff. The pent-up sexual energy has no outlet. It has to have an outlet. I mean, especially when it comes to creative energy, your dancing, it has to have, your sexual energy, your tantric energy has to have an outlet. Right? Or else it will result in hallucinations. Internal pressure often creates shin disturbances. Spirit disturbances. So you within the restraining of your sexual your celibacy or your monastic traditions and things like that. That pent up sexual energy has no outlet, resulting in internal pressure, often creating spirit disturbances and hallucinations. So when you get into the aspect of hallucinations and things like that, right? You have certain ones, and you're sitting up there, you're doing a thing, and you're like, oh, man, I just want to, and so I've dealt with this. I've been with women that have been on their celibacy journey and things like that, and I also understand how that affects their personal and their emotional and things like that. The whole thing, because when there's no outlet, yeah, definitely, obviously, it's going to be coming out in different types of ways. You're gonna have spirit disturbances. You're gonna have pressures, hallucinations, obsessions, depression, and psychosis. Right? This is coming from the not moving of your shin energy, your chi energy, and so this is like the restraining of what they call your sexual energy. And what we mean like the sexual energy, it's not like you always have to be like, oh, I need to always, clap a thing, right? The sharing of your tantric and sexual energy becomes, can come in the form of a creative session, can come in the form of a tantric, communication, right? From the experience of just holding hands. There's so many different ways to be able to express, that pent up energy, in certain ways, right? And the resulting internal pressure creates shin disturbances, spirit disturbances, such as hallucinations, obsessions, depressions, and psychosis, right? Right? It is for this reason the ancient Taoists developed the various Neidan training methods used in ancient internal alchemy. So Neidan refers to internal. Weidan is to external. So if you ever hear us say Neidan and Weidan, Neidan is internal alchemy, Weidan is external alchemy, right? So you understand that, in the internal alchemy and then also in the external alchemy, right? So these are also training methods, so ancient internal alchemy. Because the sexual energy can be overwhelmingly intense and volatile, only the most advanced students were allowed to practice the secret teachings of the Taoist magic. Right? Because you have to understand that through the celibacy and practicing your restraint in intimacy in certain aspects, if you're not cultivating the sacred sciences with that actual one that you're doing dual cultivation with, it is a practice, right? It's a willingly practice of internal alchemy. An overwhelming practice of internal alchemy, an intense and volatile practice of internal alchemy, because not only when you have those pent-up energies inside you and you don't have an outlet, you have to be able to control, harness, and direct those energies. It's like chi energy. You have to move it, right? You have to move it. Only the most advanced students are allowed to practice the secret teachings of Taoist sex magic. Right? So the act of sex is a microcosm of the process of creating or creation emerging from the infinite Tao. Right? Sexual intercourse gives the Taoist sorcerer access to the true mysteries of life, harnessed within the tissues of matter. Right? You got the true experience of life harnessed within the tissues of matter. Right? Come on. Right? So you have so many different experiences that are stored up inside of your actual body, inside the tissues of your organs. Right? And so sexual intercourse gives the Taoist sorcerer or sorceress access to the true mysteries of life harnessed within the tissues of matter. Right? It is this potentiated sexual energy that fuels the transformation of Jing into Qi. Jing, your natural essence. That Jing is what you call ejaculation or orgasm, all those type of things like that. That is your Jing into Qi. So now you're converting that sexual energy into Qi energy, something that can be utilized in the physical realm, right? Right? Qi. So now you're converting your sexual energy into something that can be utilized to be flowed with your chi, right? Chi into shin. And so from your chi, that chi is converted into spirit, your shin, and then shin into wuji. Wuji is the source. Remember I was telling you about the yin and the yang, and then that line in the middle of the yin and the yang is the formless but formless. The way of wuji. Ultimately returning this also into a state of magical union within the Tao. The energetic transformation is the essence of Taoist internal alchemy. So these are processes that we go through in order to create the platform for an introduction to cultivation methods, right? We're cultivating these things. And so according to ancient Taoist teachings, the act of having sexual intercourse affects the body, jing, which is your essence, right? And causes large amounts of qi and shin to be released. Sexual energy itself is like an unbleached cotton cloth. The intention and context for the act of sex has the ability to paint or dye the cloth, any color or pattern. My God. So you're looking at a white cotton ball, right? And your intention for sex, so sexual intimacy, right? Right? It's an unbleached cotton cloth. The intention and context for the act of sex has the ability to paint or dye the cotton cloth, any color or pattern. So you're telling me that my white cotton cloth or whatever cotton cloth I have, that when I come across anything that isn't in alignment with its natural source, it can paint or dye my cloth, right? And that goes into everything, you know? That goes into everything when it comes to sex magic in the whole entirety, right? You know? And so the intention and context for the act of sex has the pattern. Therefore, the jing, qi, and shin of each partner dyes the colorless sexual energy according to the types of colors each artist involved brings into the creative act. Yo, you're telling me that the intention, context for the act of sex has the ability to dye the cloth any color or pattern, right? So you're talking about your rare substance that has the ability to be dyed by the encounters that you come across intimately, right? So you have to be conscious of who you allow on your cloth, right? Or what you allow on your cloth, right? Because each partner dyes the colorless sexual energy according to the type of colors each artist is involved brings into the creative act. So each person that you have to dye your cotton cloth is an artist. They're painting on you, right? They're painting on your spirit, painting on your shit, right? So therefore, in an act, you know, we have to make sure, that's where the cultivation methods that we went to earlier, the dual cultivation methods in part 1, when we talked about the 6 stages. You know, these 6 stages are necessary because that person that you're sharing your energy with can dye your cloth, any pattern, right? Right? And so with each sexual act, the individuals involved can either transfer, awaken, or create new life, right? So you got to understand that each encounter that we have physically, we are either transferring, awakening, or creating new life, right? This powerfully charged sexual energy can also be used to escalate an individual's magical training, right? So you can either transfer, awaken, or create new life, and or escalate an individual's magical training. So you have to understand that you're doing sacred acts, you know, when it comes to, you know, intimacy and things like that. You're cultivating each other, right? And so when we get into the whole fullness, the exchange of sexual energy between an individual and his or her partner also releases core karma. All core karma relates to sex, birth, and death, and is released through shaking. Right? You intimate with the one, you ever had a one that's like having an orgasm and they start shaking uncontrollably? Oh man, I've had that, you know, so many times. Had a woman tell me that's a somatic release. I've had a woman cry, all types of things like that for real when it comes to like, shedding that energy. But that energy is released through shaking. As the core of both energy bodies shake during orgasm, you say you're shaking the body during orgasm and you're also healing your past life, right? As the body shakes during orgasm, karma is exchanged between the lovers. As this karmic energy is transferred, the lovers become imprinted with each other's karmic pattern. This is one reason why casual sex is considered to be energetically and spiritually dangerous. Because you're imprinting the karma exchange through the sexual encounter. You're imprinting and transferring the karmic energy, the karmic patterns, right? From your past lives. That's the whole part of dual cultivation methods. This is the reason why your dual cultivation methods are serious. Your dual cultivation methods are serious, right? The natural energy created from the sexual intercourse also contains what is known as colorless karma. In other words, the magical energy generated through sex is so powerful, but the core karma that is attached to it is created and exchanged according to the energetic and spiritual nature of the individuals involved. Fama. The magical energy generated through sex is powerful, but the core karma that is attached to it is created and exchanged. So it dilutes the power if you aren't in alignment, right? If you didn't do the 6 stages prior to that we talked about, right? When it comes to freeing your past, fusing the spirit, all these, etc., those stages in the first stage that we talked about, right? So the core karma that is attached to it is created and exchanged according to energetic and spiritual nature of the individuals involved. The energetic and spiritual nature of the individuals involved. So based on the person that you are sharing your intimacy realms with, that aligns to your manifestation, your divine process, right? Because energy is transferred, it never dies. It's transferred. And if you don't heal those processes before you start to become intimate with the one, then therefore you will start to carry those on to the next situation. And they will be imprinted into your next situation. Huh? So you have to free those things. This is the reason why casual sex is considered to be energetically and spiritually dangerous. Right? Because casually now you're not focused on those things. The natural energy created from sexual intercourse also contains what is known as what? Colorless karma. In other words, the magical energy generated through sex is powerful, but the core karma that is attached to it, created and exchanged according to the energetic and spiritual nature of the individuals involved, right? The individuals involved. As this powerful magical energy is gradually awakened during the act of sex, it is repeatedly released through energetic vibration and finally discharged through the orgasm. Right? So people don't understand the orgasm aspect of it. Orgasm is very serious, no? Right? It's not just like, oh, we just you are releasing. I am receiving. I am releasing. You are receiving, right? And so it's a sacred exchange that we're doing now, right? In other words, the magical energy generated through sex is powerful. Come on now. As this powerful magical energy is gradually awakened during the act of sex, it is repeatedly released through the energetic vibration and finally discharged through the orgasm. Right? In Taoist magic, orgasm is understood to be an energetic expression of complete spiritual surrender and is therefore used in high magic to commune with the Tao. See, your orgasm isn't just like, oh, I'm just busting a nut. It is understood to be an energetic expression of complete spiritual surrender and is therefore used in high magic to commune with the Tao without honoring and loving one's mate. It is impossible for a sorcerer to effectively train in the magical practice of doing cultivation. Let me run it back. Without honoring and loving one's mate, right? It is impossible for a sorcerer to effectively train in the magical practice of doing cultivation. It is for this reason that the sorcerer who wishes to practice sex magic must first study emotional alchemy of the relationship. Right? Yeah, man, you have to really, like, and that goes into the aspect of you choosing the one. You can't just be just jumping up into just, You have to actually choose the one spiritually, right? Right? Because you have to honor and love your mates. And in that honoring, it's shared back into you. I worship the throne of my empress, right? I put my empress on the throne and I worship it, kiss the feet and everything. Why? Because that's necessary. That's necessity, right? Right? And so, in Taoist magic, an orgasm is understood to be an energetic expression of complete spiritual surrender and is therefore used in higher magic to commune with the Tao. Without honoring and loving one's mate, it is impossible for a sorcerer to effectively train in the magical practice of dual cultivation. It is for this reason sorcerers who wish to practice sex magic must first study emotional alchemy, because you have to be in alignment with your union. You have to be in dual cultivation. You have to be in yin and yang with your divine union, right? And so these are different things, right? So when you get into the introduction stage, you have the introduction stage with a hearts and flowers stage, passion and romance, pleasure bonding, right? Right? Is it not pleasure bonding? Is it not pleasure bonding? Right? Is it not pleasure bonding? You tell me. Right? Right? And so from pleasure bonding, after you go into your pleasure bonding, you go into the chaos stage, the subtle gi, which is ghosts of the past. Encounters begin to attack the internal fabric that maintains the security of a new relationship. If you haven't cleansed out those past things, the chaos stage of the past encounters begin to attack the internal fabric that maintains the security of the new relationship. Right? And so this is where a lot of these individuals happen, right? You get into your new union and things like that for real, and then boom, past encounters come in diverse, right? Because you haven't fully cleansed out the whole 6 stages that we talked about in part 1, right? And so, and after that stage is the new beginning stage, right? The couples overcome fears and vanities, begin again, growing closer, deeper, more intimate, and with a more committed purpose. This happens after the chaos stage. You got your introduction stage, and your chaos stage, and then your new beginning stage, right? Right? Because you have to understand, hey, look, I love this woman. It's fluttery, pleasant, but then you start to understand who she is, or who he is. Right? The past, all those type of things like that, they begin to attack the internal fabric that maintains the security of a new relationship. Then you get into the new beginnings. Yeah, new beginnings, and you begin again, growing closer and deeper, more intimate, and with a committed purpose, right? So that's the whole purpose, right? Right? And so we get into the spells now. Because I don't think you understand the spells that, when you're talking to your partner, right? Incantations and invocations, right? Do you understand how to talk to your partner? So, in those spells, you can either do a blessing or curse. And this is ways of how people communicate. And this is natural. This is not like against anyone, right? So you have incantations and invocations. So you can either do a blessing or curse. Which one you want to go for first? Let's go for the blessing, right? So the blessing communication, right, is best known as the type of magical practice which is a spell. You're spelling words. You're spelling, right? That's the first encounter when it comes to your divine union, just spelling, right? So your incantations and invocations. So you have your blessing and your curse. Let's start with the blessing now, right? The way you communicate with your partner, praise, honor, love, right? In your praise, you'll be honoring behavior, honoring character and nature, honoring the relationship, and again, reinforcing their actions, reinforcing their dreams and fantasies, reinforcing their illusions, right? In a curse, you will complain, criticize, and condemn. Criticize behavior, criticize character and nature, criticize relationship, attack their actions, attack their dreams, and attack their fantasies, attack their illusions. Right? Have you ever been inside relationships like that? I'm pretty sure you have. So we're not going to get into that. So this is the way that you communicate with individuals. You're a blessing or a curse. In the blessing communication, you would praise, honor, and love that individual. You will honor their behavior, honor their character, and honor the relationship. Even if it's not in alignment to what you want, you can speak about that. What's not in alignment and how to get it in alignment. Simple, right? You can honor the behavior, honor the character and nature, honor the relationship. If you do have any grievances, you can share them. But you don't have to share them as criticizing the behavior, criticizing the character and nature, criticizing the relationship. Right? Because they're not going to get to you attacking their actions, attacking their dreams and fantasy, then attracting their illusions. Right? Right? I can have an illusion of like, this is one woman out there, this is going to be my wife. This woman is going to be my wife. That could be my illusion. And you can't reinforce my illusion, right? So we have to understand that when you're inside the sacred relationship or you're in due cultivation with the one, because you'll start to understand who is giving you the blessing and then who's also giving you the curse. Because if a woman is giving you the blessing or if a man is giving you the blessing, they're going to praise, honor, and love you. Honor your behavior, honor your character and nature, honor your relationship. And then reinforce their actions, reinforce their dreams and fantasies, and also reinforce their illusions, right? If you're with the wrong one, they're going to complain, criticize, condemn, criticize your behavior, criticize your character, and criticize your nature, criticize your relationship, attacking the actions, attacking the dreams and fantasies, attacking illusions. But see, we need ones to reinforce the dreams and fantasies, reinforce the actions. Right? If there's something that's not in alignment, we can talk about it. We don't have to attack it. So that's the whole entirety thing, right? You get into a whole fullness, with the one, and understanding how you can be able to build with the one, extend your blessings, right? And so the new beginning stage, the third stage is known as the new beginning stage. It's a stage that occurs after the two individuals have learned how to surrender their attachment to the false empowerment of their vanities. This is when the couple begins to live a life focused on shared vision of creating a future together, right? A shared vision of creating a future together. This is the new beginning stage. Now, at this stage, a new relationship is formed, and the couple begins again, the new introduction stage. It's after you've experienced your whole thing. We don't go through our whole. This is a new introduction stage. This continual spiritual death and rebirth allows the couple to grow closer, deeper, and more intimate through the sharing of a committed purpose. Right? You don't start it out a million times, but we're going to be sharing a committed purpose. A committed purpose, right? At this stage of new beginnings, a conscious couple will always rededicate themselves as friends, lovers, and mates. This reintroduces the hearts and lovers stage at a higher and more conscious level, and it allows the lovers to look at each other with a new freshness and not as a memorized book on a shelf. These are for individuals that want to be in long-term relationships, and I want to see the rest of my life with you, right? The continual spiritual death and rebirth allows the couple to grow closer and deeper, more intimate through the sharing of a committed purpose, right? Because after you merge with your one, you start to share a committed purpose. That's what we're sharing now. We're sharing a committed purpose. I'm committed to you. I'm going to share my higher purpose with you, and my higher purpose becomes our higher purpose. Your higher purpose becomes my higher purpose. Your higher purpose becomes our higher purpose. These are things of how we start to entwine and merge with each other, right? It is at this stage the couple is able to truly forgive, heal, and consciously choose to continue the relationship. You know? So if a lot of people, individuals, they go through a lot of different things because even after the chaos stage, there's people that can't come back from that. They be like, oh, I can't come back from that. But it was at that stage that the couple was able to truly forgive, heal, and to constantly choose to continue the relationship. Right? This is the new beginning phase, where the couples will always rededicate themselves as friends, lovers, and mates. Yeah, you know, not saying to excuse the things that happen within the union, but to understand that we are human and that we are in a plane that we totally don't understand now, right? And to be honest, like, you have individuals that are in survival mode. And so you can understand that if a person haven't received a certain level of love or haven't received a certain level of experience, then they have to go out and get that. Right? And you don't want to be in control. No. I forgive you. I want to heal and consciously choose to continue our relationship in whatever form it is. I'm not here to be like, all this stuff like that, because think about it, man. You're inside a world that is just so vast, so large, so expansive. You got Mars, Venus, and all these type of things like that, but I'm worried about a woman cheating on me. A man, you worry about a man cheating. Let that woman get her experience. Let that man get her experience. Let yourself get your experience. And you accept things for what they are. And you move forward. Right? And you'll be able to now like keep that love present within an unconditional space where it's like, okay, cool. You need your experience. I can't take that from you. Right? I can't take that from you. Right? And so that's a whole different thing. That's the death and rebirth of a thing. Where the death and rebirth of the couples go closer, deeper, and more intimate with each other through the sharing of a committed purpose. Because as long as you're aligned with the higher purpose, the committed purpose, all the other stuff is just like, please, let the man have you. Let the woman have you. I don't care. We are aligned in a committed purpose. We're aligned in higher purpose. Now, what are you talking about? Right? And so you have different types of friends in them, like, sex, right? So you have the erotic senses in the brain that are stimulated, right? This is where passion and romance comes in. Then you have the instinctive senses and the genitals are stimulated. It becomes mates and settle down, right? The way any relationship begins generally determines the way and manner in which it continues, right? Since the matrix that supports and maintains a relationship energetic context has already been set, it is therefore important to note that in order for any healthy relationship to survive, it must contain three components. The couple must simultaneously be friends, lovers, and mates. Do you understand? The energetic context has already been set. Therefore, important to note that in order for any healthy relationship to survive into thriving, right, it must contain three components. The couple must simultaneously be friends, lovers, and mates. Come on now. Yeah, this multi-dimensional interaction establishes a solid base from which the relationship can grow to true maturity. Right? This in turn provides the couple with access to magical energy that feeds the relationship process. Right? It said the way of any relationship begins genuinely determines the way and manner in which it was continued. Since the matrix that supports and it maintains the relationship energetic context, the matrix supports and maintains the relationship's energetic context has already been set. Your matrix has already been set of how you both will be thriving together, right? Right? Therefore, important to note that in order for any healthy relationship to survive, it must contain three components. The couple must simultaneously be friends, lovers, come on, Frama Kamaya Tanio, and mates. The multi-dimensional interaction establishes a solid base from which the relationship can grow to true maturity. Right? This in turn provides the couple with access to magical energy that feeds the relationship process. The three main components of interaction are described as follows: friends, lovers, and mates. You see, the friends, the type of relationship that can be defined as being nourished by an individual's presence. It manifests as the energetic feelings of joy, comfort, and relaxation that come over individuals when they see or think about someone they truly cherish. Right? And so you have the lovers. This type of relationship can be defined as being nourished by an individual's happiness and delight. In this level of intimacy, the individual rejoices in the happiness of his or her lover. I have a custom fruits on. I have a custom frequency on, because you don't understand Let me go and try to get some frequency. Let me go get some frequency, because I don't think you get me now. I don't think you get me now. Let me get some frequency. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Look, let me cut over to 963 hertz. Ooh, come on! Don't do the vibrational frequency thing, right? And so, because this is a real thing, man, we're talking about some serious stuff now. I just didn't have no music on while we were talking, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. Touch me, touch me, touch me. So let's get into it, right? This type of, so we talk about the friends, lovers, and mates, right? So you have your lovers. This type of energy, right? This type of relationship can be defined as being nourished by an individual's happiness and delight. In this level of intimacy, the individual rejoices in the happiness of his or her lover. No matter what the circumstances, a lover is committed to having the other person thrive. Each lover, no matter the circumstances, a lover is committed to having the other person thrive. No matter the circumstances, I could be dead. What are you talking about? I want you to thrive in your deathbed. If I could be homeless, I want you to thrive in your homelessness. I could not have a car. I want you to thrive in your not mobility. I could be handicapped. I want you to thrive in your handicappedness. This is love. What are you talking about? So no matter what the circumstances, a lover is committed to having the what? Other person's thrive. Each lover does not see the other person as being separate from themselves. Right? So when you're in love with the individual, you don't see that person as separate from yourself. That person is you. Right? That person becomes you. You are merging your soul, because if I want the best for myself, I want the best for my lover as well. It's not a competition. I want you to be greater than me. What are you talking about? I want you to be better than me. Every knowledge that I have, I want you to be better. Better. Each lover does not see the other as being separate from himself. This type of relationship is simultaneously a conscious choice and a natural way of being. Right? In this level of intimacy, an individual lover appears to be beautiful because he or she is a part of the lover's soul. An individual lover appears to be beautiful because he or she is a part of your soul. and feels like home in ancient times. The spiritual type of beauty was defined as the perception that melts your heart. You know that type of thing. You know that type of thing where it's like, oh my God, this is my one. This is my one. I can't. What am I gonna do? What do you want me to do? You want me to be anything? You want me? Please, this is my one. It melts your heart. You're melting now, right? And so you have mates now. Mates, this type of relationship can be defined as being nourished by the desire to build a future together with another, right? It manifests as the energetic feeling of peace and security that arises from knowing that the relationship is progressing towards both individuals' prospective goals and visions. When two people relate to each other as friends, lovers, and mates, they are able to experience an energized, inspired, and liberating relationship. We're talking about friends, lovers, and mates. We want you to be able to all see the whole trinity of the thing, because now we're growing together. You know, this is a forever thing, right? This is where comes the dual cultivation that goes far beyond this, the aspect of the surface level courting, relationship. We want to be able to give birth to magical power, right? Giving birth to magical power is you tapping into the source, right, of yourself and also your partner, who you're sharing that energy with. This is not a game, no? We're not playing around and be like, we're just linking up. No. This is dual cultivations. Are you ready to cultivate yourself? Are you ready to plant your feet into the soil and grow as a tree and bear fruit for communities? Yeah. So we give birth to magical power that is yang, right? And give birth that is magical power that is yin, negative, right? So we have both things in sex, right? You have sex can be used to give birth to powerful magic, right? To love, friendship, or nurturing, to fear, possession, or controlling, right? There are 4 types of relationships, right? Let's get into one. The relationship, sexual union, and intimacy they want to have, right? That's one. Then you have the relationship, sexual, and intimacy union they expect to have. That's 2. Then you have the third one, the relationship, sexual union, and intimacy they actually have. That's 3. The relationship, sexual union, and intimacy they are committed to having. That is 4. You see how there's different stages of mental processes, right? The relationship, sexual union, and intimacy they want to have is the first one, right? This is the first thing I want to have. This is when you first meet a one. From a caballo. Then you have the relationship, sexual union, and intimacy they expect to have. I expect this from a one. I expect this person to do this to me. I expect this person to, you know? Then you have the relationship, sexual union, and intimacy they actually have. And so in the actual having, you're experiencing what you're experiencing the what you expect, and then also what you want. But it might not be what you want or what you expect, because it's the actual thing. And then after you have the actual thing, you have the relationship, sexual union, and intimacy that they are committed to having. Right? So we're committed to having this type of orgasmic relationship that we want to be able to portray. We want to be able to embody and things like that, right? And so when 2 people meet and begin to engage in the sexual relations, chemicals in the brain are released that cause the erotic centers, the connection to the brain and intrinsic and instinctive senses connected to the genitals and ruled by the moon and other things in nature to become stimulated. Remember that back. When 2 people meet and begin to engage in sexual relations, chemicals in the brains are released that cause the erotic centers connected to the brain and instinctive centers connected to the genitals and ruled by the moon and other things in nature to become stimulated. Right? So you connect to your genitals and the chemicals inside your brain, and then also connected to the genesis and moons of nature. So your brain and then also nature is all entwined inside your whole experience is being stimulated. As the erotic centers become stimulated, the individual focuses his or her attention on feelings of passion and romance. Right? As the instinctive senses become stimulated, the individual focuses his or her attention on procreating, becoming mates, and settling down. Right? So these things happen. Right? All sex gives birth to magical power. Yang, magical power is created from sexual relationships built on nurturing, friendship, and love. Yin, magical power is created from sexual relationships built on fear, possession, and control. Right? And it's not to, because yin and yang are energy centers. They're not all gender neutral. It's about energy. The magical power created from sexual union can be used to either heal or destroy the couple's body, minds, emotions, and spiritual state. Right? You have to know that. Because each individual has his or her own personal understanding of his or her own core needs and wants. These core ideas and internal codes of conduct define how a person sees or imagines their mate to be. From her. This internal definition is casually or usually colored by an individual's cultural trends. So you have the social conditioning that can be able to affect your relationship. A cultural trance defines the specific rules that each individual must play in order to satisfy the standards of being accepted as a true man or a true woman. These things come from social conditioning. Am I correct? Your mama or your grandmother will tell you about a way about how a man is supposed to treat you, but this is not the man that you are destined to have. They don't know that man yet. They only know the man that they experience. Right? And so when we get into an aspect of when defining his or her needs, each individual will have to come to terms with 4 different aspects of relationship. The type of relationship they want to have, the type of relationship they expected to have, the type of relationship that they actually do have, and then the type of relationship that they are committed to having. These are all decided within you all. Right? Through this type of recognition and acknowledgement, the individuals are freed from energetic distractions, because you can have so many different individuals distract you, so many different things from family, from all these type of things like that to distract you from who you actually are. Right? Right? That may constantly arise through trying to make the mate into something that he or she is not accustomed to being. You're trying to make someone somebody is not. Because of your conditioning. You can't accept that individual for who they actually are. Without this depth of understanding, it is impossible to have the level of conscious relationship that is required for the successful practice of sex magic. Right? Because you have to have a depth of understanding. Right? A recognition and acknowledgement of the individuals. Free from energetic distractions. Right? And your energetic distractions come from your past, your current, your present, your modern, your bloodline, all these type of things like that that have deterred you from actually accepting your true divine partner into your life. There's levels to intimacy. Right? In order to effectively practice sex magic, it's important to understand that there are numerous levels of intimacy and involvement that involves and influences the exchange of sexual power. If a sorcerer is attracted to and chooses a sexual partner that is energetically and spiritually lower and less evolved, then he or she is then the power generated from the sex magic, and their relationship will not adequately engage the sorcerer's true potential. So if you interacting with a person that's not even engaged on a certain level, it won't even touch your potential. It will be under your potential. You'll just be dealing with cycles of reincarnations of things that you need to be able to heal in order to reach your actual potential. That's sick, right? If a sorcerer is attracted to and chooses a sexual partner that is energetically and spiritually lower or less evolved than he or she is, then the power generated from the sex magic will not adequately engage the sorcerer's true potential. For example, imagine that an individual has matured to the 5th level of relationship and is considered to be a 53rd in his or her spiritual evolution. Now imagine that this individual chooses a partner who is at the 3rd level of spiritual evolution. This combined energetic and spiritual fusion of their relationship will genuinely cause the higher evolved individual to drop down to a lower level. So if you choose to have intimacy with someone at a lower level than your upper Dantean or where you've evolved to, then you will subconsciously drop down to that level in which that individual is. They always say a saying in the streets. They always say, if you have someone that's not as smart as you, they'll beat you down to like their experience. Like you drop down to their level, they'll beat you with their experience, right? At their level, right? That stuff goes hand in hand, right? Right? So you get into the combined energetic and spiritual fusion of their relationship will energetically cause the higher evolved individual to drop down to a lower in his or her spiritual evolution in order to maintain a relationship. Because the couple is constantly exchanging commerce through sex, the partner existing at the lower spiritual level is actually bleeding chi away from the sorcerer, who could be using this chi to take him or her to the next spiritual level. Right? So you're dealing with an individual that is not on your level, so you're bleeding away chi, shin, and jing. Because you are willing to accept that one at a lower level, and that's now lowering your conscious state in order to meet them at that level, and then they think that you are there, and so they beat you with experience at that level. Picture you as evolved, you God state, and then you go and you meet someone in the earthly realm and they beat you with experience because they've never experienced the level that you were at. Right? So these are things that happen, right? These things happen, right? They do. They happen. Oh yeah, they happen. Yeah. Right? And so I think we already went over the stages of qualifying a partner, imprinting the core, etc., etc. Right? And so when we get into the aspect of communication, the upper Dantian, right? Intuitive communication that controls the transformation of Wu Ji or Shin into Wu Ji, right? Let's get into the whole aspect of it, right? Right? And so your Wu Ji is without limits, right? It's the boundless energy, right? And so your Wu Ji is without limits. It's a boundless energy. And that's the cycle in between. That's your Wu Ji line, right? You have your physical world surrounded by the spirit world, which is your yang, and then you have the spirit world existing within the physical world, which is your yin, right? And then right between that, you have the energetic reality that separates the two worlds, right? The physical world and the spiritual world, which is your Wu Ji, right? Your Wu Ji is the one that can be able to communicate in the physical and the spiritual realms and be formless yet form at the same time. Brahma. So in the upper Dantian, you have the intuitive communication that controls the transformation of Shin spirit into Wu Ji, something that can be used, right? Something that is the supreme ultimate, right? Something that is quiet, yet the starting point of Tai Chi and Qigong, right? Tai Chi and Qigong. This is also the movement of the energy, because such stillness is the movement of the energy, right? In the middle Dantian, energetic communication controls the transformation of Qi into Shin, of your energy into spirit, right? Of your energy into spirit, Qi into Shin. In your lower Dantian, kinetic communication controls the transformation of your jing into chi, your body into energy. So all that workout energy or sacral energy or creative energy, all of that is turned into chi, right? In the middle dantian, chi into shin. In the upper dantian, shin into wu chi. So in the upper dantian, shin into wu chi. Middle dantian, shi into shin. And lower dantian, jing into shi. Right? Jing is your body's essence into shi, which is your energy. Shi is your energy into spirit, which is your spirit. Spirit into wu shi, which is formlessness. Brahmayata, emptiness, stillness, the primordial void. Shin into the primordial void, without limit. Shin into the without limits, between the physical and the spiritual realms. Right? And so you have your yin and your yang, your yang and your yin. Your yang represents the physical world surrounded by the spiritual world. Your yin represents the spiritual world existing within the physical world. Your energetic reality right between the middle, we're talking about the yin yang, right between the middle, that line that you see is the energetic reality that separates the two worlds. Brahma, Kabanyo, Guni, Epo. Your third eye is your yin yang, and you have your taji pole that goes up and down. Your heavenly transpersonal point. Your heavenly transpersonal point right here, because you have a transpersonal point between the divine. When the divine communicates with you in transpersonal and transcommunicates your personal, your desires. Everything that you have personally comes from the divine, because it's transpersonal within your divine connection, right? Roma, Kabanyo, heavenly point. This is the heavenly point, no? The Shin Dao. Yeah, so, I don't want y'all to understand, right? Right? Yeah, it's a lot of wisdom in here. It's a lot of wisdom in here. It's a lot of wisdom in here. Look, we're gonna tap into it. We're gonna tap into it, I'll tell you that. We're gonna tap into it, I'll tell you that. Oh yeah, you see all this wisdom in here? You see all this wisdom? I'm not playing with y'all, yo. I'm not playing with y'all. I'm not playing with you. I'm not playing with you. The applications of sex magic goes into the evocation, invocation, enchantment, divination, magical powers, illumination, charging items, and then the healing. Right? The art and skill of sexual intercourse was widely studied and celebrated by people from all classes and walks of life. The fact is demonstrated through ancient Chinese literature, archaeological records, and art discovered in the form of erotic imagery such as those found in the tombs of decorations. The reasons for this popularity was understanding that sexual intercourse could be used to enhance one's internal spiritual practice and bridge the gap between the physical and spiritual realms. Right? Right now, intimacy is the only thing that can be able to tap into the physical and spiritual realms in ways that you cannot understand. And orgasm is something that people haven't even understood yet. Right? So when you get into the evocation, this form of training, the sorcerer uses sex magic to induce a trance in order to contact a spirit deity. This type of sex magic can only be used to create or build up an energetic form for the spirit entity to assume. That's evocation. You setting the form and the present and the stage for a spirit to be able to come in, a spirit entity to come in. Then you have the invocation. And this form of training, the sorcerer uses to generate the power of an orgasm or prolonged trance in order to allow a spirit entity to enter into the shell of the physical body. Right? So you talk about orgasms, now allowing you to the spirit entity to enter into the shell of the physical body. Now you have individuals that have, they achieve orgasm in so many different artificial ways. You don't even know what deity or entity that you allow into your body, right? And this is where problems come in, right? And so in this form of sex magic, the sorcerer can either use his or her own body or his or her own partner's body for the ritual invocation. The practice of ritual invocation in sex magic has been used for centuries by magical traditions. This form of ritual magic can be used by a couple wishing to conceive a child. In this instance, the couple uses sex magic to contact an enlightened being and request it to enter the forming embryo during conception. The couple is then responsible for raising the enlightened little one until the child begins his or her spiritual mission. Right? And so this is all a sacred process, right? Right? And then you have your enchantment. Your enchantment in this form of training, the sorcerer creates a magical seal representing his or her desire and charges it with the energy released during orgasm. These are all processes of intimacy. The magical seal may have an abstract, pictorial, or semi-abstract form. This seal may be created from any energetic medium. Once created, this magical seal can be programmed to exist in any realm that sorcerer desires. Right? Right? So visual symbols written in the energetic space are the most popular form of magical seals. However, many sorcerers also use sound symbols, mantras, and tactile symbols, charms, in magic as well. The magical training books called the Grimoires are also known to list pages of magical seals. This is also the enchantment process, right? Divination. In this form of training, the sorcerer uses altered state induced by sex magic in order to receive information through trance induced by visions. See, these are some of the things that we are also doing when we're having intimacy with each other. This goes far beyond just the... It gets into the whole dynamic of enchantment, divination, magical powers, right? So let's get into magical powers. In this form of training, the magical sorcerer uses sex magic in order to develop magical skills and increase his or her magical abilities. The particular shape or the particular type of training is so personal that it depends almost entirely on the practitioner and the type of magical work being done. For example, many Taoist practitioners use sex magic to cultivate Jing, Shi, and Shin in order to create the golden embryo used in soul travel. From a Seal, from a continue. See, you have, the travel, the soul travel, which is like different than what you call giving birth, right? You can travel the soul in sacred encounters of intimacy when you are abstaining from ejaculation or when you orgasm and you control your orgasm in ways that right? And so you get into illumination, right? In this form of training, the sorcerer uses sex magic in order to quicken the evolution and the conscious process of spiritual growth. When the sexual forces first begin to move, the individual involved begins to respond to the sensations of their imagination and intention. The individual's energetic centers and channels open and expand, and the entire energetic system rewires itself surrounding the new relationship. This is a very sacred process. You're talking about getting with a one. That's not please, man, release yourself. You need to understand how to really merge and cultivate with the one and build with the one, because that goes far beyond your temporary desires that are fleeting. These things are fleeting now. These things are fleeting now. And look, I'm going to just stop it right here because these things are fleeting now, and I want y'all to understand, the aspect of science. As long as you understand that this is the end of the book. That is the end of the book. And I wanted to be able to give you out a whole fullness. So now that you all understand, there we go. Now that you all understand, you'll be able to tap into the whole fullness. So I feel like I gave y'all enough that you'll be able to tap in, get the whole fullness, and be able to understand sex magic at its cultivation standpoint, right? I was just, I just wanted to be able to, delve deep with y'all so that y'all can be able to, understand dual cultivation methods. Right? Because it goes far beyond just intimacy. This is a very sacred expansion now, and you know, and I want y'all to be able to attain superpowers through your intimacy practices. I mean, this ain't just like no, oh, we just, you know, which you can, right? But you gotta understand what that is doing. You gotta understand, are you thinking? Are you unconsciously clapping cheeks right now? You are unconscious clap cheeper. You're unconscious cheek clapper. You're sitting up there just brother, you gotta think about the thing that you're doing now. What are you consciously manifesting with your empress? Right? This goes far beyond you just clapping a thing, right? You know, and so now we have to understand the full matrix of it, the full science of a thing. And so that's where you understand sex magic and dual cultivation. Right? So that's where we at. And so I appreciate you all for joining us for this experience. Look, I'm gonna cut some other song on. I'm gonna cut some outro music on right now, so y'all can be able to like hold your meditation. Because again, we talking about sex magic again. So what we got cut on? What we got cut on? Some love music, man. Some love music. Some love music. You got some music. Yeah, got some love music on.
If you really want to, you say, you only 60 seconds
so this is how we all.
I bought something you're going to love. I'm showing you
Please, release yourself.
2G. Yeah.
It's almost time. You better move, girl, but you look like tonight, so you and I, it's gonna be so fly. I'm having you around, so I gotta put you down. So there's a between that
Look, that's it right there, bruh. That's it. I mean, if y'all want another song, I'll give it to you. But I feel like I done gave y'all, enough of the fullness, no? I mean, I can give you a little bit of my piano once I leave off, but I don't want to give y'all too much because I got problems, and I'll dance with y'all. I'm trying to get off of this thing. I'm trying to get off this Yeah, man. Bless up, family. Bless up, family. So that was the night's, sex magic and dual cultivation. So make sure you all create your account on soulcommunity.io, please. solcommunity.io. You do it. solcommunity.io. Create your account. So these videos are gonna be posted there, but we're gonna also use YouTube as our platform as well too. So I appreciate y'all all clocking in with us, all 5 people, or all 5,000 people, or however many world people. Please leave a comment. We love you. Thank you for joining us today. Like I feel like we getting this good energy out, and so it's like. The ancestors have ordained I and I to be able to share this wisdom, and I appreciate y'all, embracing this with me because I'm just a conduit, I'm just a conduit. The ancestors are using me. I'm technically not even here right now, so just go ahead and yeah, I'm not even here. I'm being like used, like the ancestors are using me as a vehicle, as a messenger, as a macabre vehicle. So if I was a message in a bottle, like just take the message and discard the bottle. Ramakanayo. Asheo. Oh, should we end it off with like a prayer? Okay, alright. So I shade all the ancestors known and unknown. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I want to give thanks to all the ancestors known and unknown. We give thanks to Orodamari, Olokun, Ororun, Oromila. We give thanks to Ilegbara, Ilegba, Ilegwa, Ochusiana. We give thanks to Ishu, Ikrakba. We give thanks to Olokun, Ororun. We give thanks to Atum Re, Atum Ra. We give thanks to Amun Re, Amun Ra. We give thanks to Amen Re, Amen Ra. We give thanks to Aten Re, Aten Ra. We give thanks to Atum. We give thanks to Patatas, and then we give thanks to Akanat. We give thanks to we give thanks to Ra. We give thanks to Ochosiana. We give thanks to Aratiana. We give to no Piapa. We give thanks to Etaru, Tatuni, Hatani, Okofuma. We give thanks to the Dogon. We give thanks to Polo, Epolo, Perma, Katiano, Kofuma. We give thanks to the Aduduas. We give thanks to all the Aduduas, the Ifa, Ninkiana. We give thanks to Lewa, all the Lewa spirits, the Vukuna spirits, the groove in the spirits from my bio. We give thanks to Chuko Meka, Chuko, Fruko Ma, Congo, Baba, 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 Baba. We give thanks to all the ancestors, known and unknown as Shiro. Yes, sir. So, that was your prayer. Don't say I didn't pray for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. So, that was your prayer. Don't say I didn't pray for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You thrive in your homelessness. I cannot have a car. I want you to thrive in your not mobility. I can be handicapped. I want you to thrive in your handicappedness. Like this is love. What are you talking about? So no matter what the circumstances, the lover is committed to having the one other person's thrive. Come on. Each lover does not see the other person as being separate from themselves. Right? So when you're in love with the individual, you don't see that person as separate from yourself. That person is you. Right? That person becomes you. You are merging your soul because if I want the best for myself, I want the best for my lover as well. It's not a competition. I want you to be greater than me. What are you talking about? I want you to be better than me. Every knowledge that I have, I want you to be better. Each lover does not see the other as being separate from himself. This type of relationship is simultaneously a conscious choice and a natural way of being. Right? In this level of intimacy, the individual lover appears to be beautiful because he or she is a part of the lover's soul. Yo, an individual lover appears to be beautiful because he or she is a part of your soul and feels like home in ancient times. The spiritual type of beauty was defined as the perception that melts your heart. You know that type of thing. You know that type of thing where you say, oh my God, this is my one. This is my one. What am I going to do? What do I want me to do? You want me to do anything? You want me to, please, this is my one. It melts your heart. You're melting now, right? And so you have mates now. Mates, this type of relationship can be defined as being nourished by the desire to build a future together with another. Surrounded by the spiritual world. Your yin represents the spiritual world existing within the physical world. Your energetic reality right between the middle. We're talking about the yin yang, right between the middle. This is dual color.
Please leave your message for
Sure.
This. Squirrel. To down sex magic. Right, and so this is part two. Part two now. You know,
Your call has been forwarded to an automated.
Had a chance to go over, the earlier stages, the last one, and things like that. So we want to be able to delve deep into this part two introduction. Okay? So let's get into it. The introduction of value system.
Oh, Shama. And you. More intimate. Any color or pattern. My God. So you look
We like to welcome y'all to the House of Soul, Shape of Innovation. Come on, the National Institute of Soul, the Black Arts Entertainment District, the whole performance. We represent the culture. We coming back here for another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. We're here for Sex Magic and Dual Cultivation, part 2. Right? This is part 2 now. Hey. You tell me if you like it.